Hey, Stuart.
Hey, Natasha, how are you?
Very well, and yourself?
Very good.
Start sharing the presentation.
Sorry, just managing multiple streams here.
No problem.
Hey, Jace.
You need to click side by side speaker on Zoom.
Hey, Sue. Hey, Jace.
Top right hand corner.
Hey, Natasha.
How are you?
Fine, and you?
Very well, thank you. Trying to figure out all the screens here.
Yeah, I'm just trying to.
There we
It's
go.
the small view button. If you click on it, it gives.
Ah, nice.
Yes, it should be on the corner. Yes, on top.
Hey, Jace. Can you hear me too?
Yeah, that one. Speaker view.
Dion
Yeah.
and Tessa should be joining us soon. Hey, Jace.
Hi there.
How are you?
Good, thank you, and you?
Good, thank
Don't see
you.
yourself.
Here we go.
Hey, Stuart.
Yes, I do. No, I see you and the presentation.
Hello, tech support.
Tasha, we can't get our virtual stream working.
Oh, goodness. Okay. Try just any other virtual background. The intense color does tend to cause a problem every now and then. Oh, goodness. Okay.
I think you might have the blur filter on.
That's so strange.
If you go into your settings for Zoom and under backgrounds,
I'm going to take my Zoom off and I'm going to actually
there's a couple of filters there where you can change the effect.
Able to see you.
Oh no,
It's because I'm speaking as well, that's why you can't see.
I'm on a Mac. It doesn't
Oh,
set
okay.
any of the filters. So.
Yeah, and that will change as soon as I mute myself and I put my video on.
We're looking very symmetrical here, Stuart.
Oh, thank you.
Yes, we can. Let me do that.
Make sure everything's in order.
Stop my video.
How's the hair?
Mute myself.
Yeah, looking very shiny.
There we go.
Okay, can you still hear background noise? Can you hear other people speaking behind me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Just change my setting.
Yeah, you should be able to.
Okay, well, I'm going to mute myself anyway, and so are they when all the sessions start, so it should actually not be a problem. So we're just waiting for Dion and Tessa,
We're just
and then we're good to go.
Just something darker.
Jace.
Codes? What do I click on?
Speaker,
I need the power, it lasts hours.
doesn't give you the option to view speaker view, and then you'll have the big presentation, but you're using only one screen.
Yes, Tessa.
So we just cannot do two screens, because it's too complicated.
Tessa. And Dion. Cool, we are full house. Fantastic.
And your presentation, so the recording, everything will be.
No shame, Jess. You're a walking family reunion logo. We didn't know that you were that patriotic about the company. Hello, Dion.
Good afternoon.
How are you?
Good, thank you. Pannekoekdag in Mossel Bay. Ach, in George.
Pannekoekdag. Oh, you saw
Yeah.
it.
Thank you so much.
Well, ours is a mixture of rain and shine all the time.
Good luck.
Tasha, give me 1 second. Is the thing with that link between Zoom and that Swapcard app, is it fine now?
Yes, it's fine. So it's busy counting down. We're live in 5 minutes.
Okay.
The issue that we had yesterday was because we were streaming to Swapcard and Facebook simultaneously, but today it's just straight to Swapcard. So it will, I've tested 3 already this morning. It won't be an issue.
Okay, excellent. I'll be back in a sec. Maybe I'll be on time. Maybe I won't. Who knows?
Such a funny guy.
Are you leaving it to us? This is amazing. We have control.
There we go. You do have control.
Here we go.
Fantastic. So did you enjoy the award ceremony? Did you enjoy the state of the company? Was there some valuable information?
Yeah, it was
Very
nice.
good.
Fantastic. I think the guests in the state of the company were fun. It was good to have the different voices. And Sean added some value too. Now, Jace, don't stress about the background. It's not working, it's not working. And I see Anushka had the same yesterday. What happened with her is her teeth went the color of the background every time. So she'd smile and she'd have green teeth or blue teeth. So she also just left it.
Yeah, no,
I can't deal with that.
it's okay.
No, it's perfect. It's
As long as
not a
my
problem.
children have my background doesn't go crazy.
That's okay. And that happens too. So, you know, these things happen.
So it should be, it should be including questions.
Did any of you have market center get-togethers? Safe COVID safe ones.
Yeah.
Whatever you're comfortable with.
PE.
We had an online thing yesterday evening, a happy hour afterwards.
Okay, cool.
Coming to read the screen.
Awesome.
But
And you,
it was fun. Sue was there, and oh, by the way, congratulations, Sue, with your OTP.
Yeah, thank you. It was. I hate leaving a party to go and work, but it ended up being good class.
Of course,
Awesome.
of course.
Awesome.
What we can do is we can sort
That's
it out
fantastic.
quickly and speak
all right, so just quick recap. It goes live automatically on the hour. I'm gonna mute myself and put my camera off. So and I'm gonna hide non-video participants. So I'm not gonna be seen anywhere. Please don't refer to me, don't ask me questions. It's just the 4 or 5 of you. I mean, cool.
Okay.
Yeah. If you do need something, I am listening, so my ears are in. But I mean, the panel is just you guys. I'm not actually there. So you are in control, Stuart, like you said.
Excellent. I just forgot my bell and my whistle for today.
Dion, that's not how we know you. We know you as a bells and whistles kind of guy.
I spent the morning making phone calls, so I'm quite exhausted on the throat. So I'll take it easy. And I'll let the ladies do the talking.
You can message me on
I'm going to try and hold back.
the chat box.
Don't.
Okay.
You're a numbers guy, I saw, so don't hold back, Stuart.
I'm going to try.
That's easier.
Let's give them value, man.
It's only 45 minutes.
Natasha, I could hear someone in the background.
Yeah, so if I mute myself,
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah.
It should be okay. We're just all busy hosting a call like this. The four of us sitting here. So I'm going to mute and start recording in about a minute. And then, yeah, you guys can just be ready to go live on the hour.
And
It's
then
now a minute and a
maybe
half.
get on to the other family reunion sessions after this.
So you go straight to the swap card site. That thing that's been emailing you all this time.
Okay.
You go straight there and they'll play. I can quickly show you my screen.
Okay.
So you should see my screen.
Yeah.
So you go to this website, you go to
Yeah.
sessions, and then you just click on the session that you want to watch.
Yeah.
And then on the hour, it will, where's our session? This one.
Yes.
Then
Okay.
instantly it just starts.
Okay. Okay. Perfect.
Okay, so I'm going to hit record. I'm going to mute and leave you be. It's 45 seconds to live. All right. Can I leave you with that? Good luck. Thank you so much. We really appreciate you, and deliver just as much value as you can. Share how you've become you. I'll chat later to you. Cheers.
Awesome.
Good luck, guys. Let's do this.
Okay.
Hi, Jess.
Hi, Tess.
Hi, everyone. Congrats with all the awards today.
Congrats to both and to all.
Congrats to all.
Okay.
South Africa, and by the way, our great
Okay, I think we are live. I just want to make sure.
Yeah, looks like we're live.
Okay, indeed we are live. What a interesting family reunion it isn't. At this stage, I'm talking to you from George, and I know that we've got viewers from right across the world, and obviously in South Africa, all our wonderful KW agents and guests attending this. So I've got the honor to talk to some of the best producers in the whole of Keller Williams today and get them to share their secrets of the trade. What is it that these guys know, these guys and girls know, that they sort of keep secret? What is the secret to their success? What is it that a top agent does and that they want to hold to themselves? So I'm Deonte Blanche. I'm the operating partner of Keller Williams Eden, and we are based in the beautiful Garden Route. I've been an estate agent now for close on 14 years. Most of that, I was also a listing agent. I read a red book once that said to me, the 3 things you got to focus on are leads, listings, and then in time you can get to a point where you leverage your way into that business, into high production as well. So I've got the honor today to be spending time with Stuart, Jess, Tessa, and Sue. Welcome, guys.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Dion.
Dion.
Thanks, Dion.
So I've done my little song and dance now. Maybe Stuart, seeing that you're the one thorn amongst roses here, you can start with an introduction of yourself.
So yeah, the only thorn without hair. So yes, I'll take that honor. Yeah, very warm welcome to everybody that's joined us worldwide. It appears it's actually quite an honor to be sitting in front of everybody. My journey in real estate actually only started in 2018, so I'm probably one of the young boys in the real estate amongst the group of us. But I've managed to follow the red book, follow those models, and I actually slowly progressed my way through joining on the Clockwork group in Edenvale. I became their productivity coach and started to help and develop other agents, and started to take that a little bit further, going online and actually helping agents actually across the country. And then last year, COVID hit us. And actually, instead of it being something that was negative, it actually became more of an opportunity. And I became the team leader for the Sandton Market Center. And I've been sitting here since and helping everybody. So my journey has actually been quite an evolution of coming from an agent, going through the ranks of selling a number of properties to where I'm sitting over here. So thank you, Dion, for allowing me to introduce myself.
Fantastic. Like that introduction. I think with your background and you know, that the time period is not the most important thing. I think you are going to bring a lot of value just based on your results already. Jess, you are somebody with fantastic results. Maybe you can also introduce yourself to our audience.
Oh, hi there, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. My name's Jess Peens. I'm part of the Keller Williams family in Port Elizabeth, Keller Williams Explore. And I am one of the top producers in Keller Williams. 2019 highest gross commission income, I came third. And then this year I came second, which we found out yesterday, which was really exciting because any growth is exciting. And yeah, I'm a double capper and just, yeah, very privileged to be a part of this company and learning from people like yourselves. And there are many agents who have just, they're really good role models for us. So yeah, it's just exciting to be a part of it.
Fantastic. Jess, I'm going to have to ask you, when you talk, just to be a little bit closer to that microphone, I think in PE today, the weather's like it is in the garden route. So I'm going to have to speak up, unfortunately.
No problem.
So while we are in PE, maybe you can also introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining. I became a real estate agent in 2012. I actually started doing it as a part-time way to supplement my income. And then in 2016, I actually became doing it full-time. But I joined Keller Williams Explore in Port Elizabeth in 2015 at the same time as Jess. And very fortunate to be in this market center where we are working. Really feel as a privilege of being part of the team in Port Elizabeth. I'm also a double capper and I've capped, I think, from my second year at KW Explore and sold the most units in 2018 in KWSA.
Brilliant. Awesome results, Tessa. And then in the beautiful Cape Town, we've got Sue Cohn. Sue, please tell the audience who you are.
Hi guys, thanks for joining us today. I'm Sue Cohn and I'm based in Cape Town. Prior to joining Eden, I was with KW Coastal, but now I'm working out of the George office. I've only been an agent for 3 years. I'm going to be a double capper on Friday, Dion, just to let you know, with my next transaction. Wasn't in real estate beforehand, so found the Keller Williams model great because I had run businesses of my own before, and the Red Book teaches you how to build a business. And it's not so much about real estate, it's more about relationships and communication.
Awesome. So the topic is, what is this secret that top agents don't want others to know? Now, of course, we do want them to know, which is why we are talking to our audience. But what is this secret? What is it that makes you such a successful agent? I mean, you said double cappers. In almost all of your, Jace, Tessa, Sue, all of you are double cappers. Stu, I knew that you've also done quite well in a very short space of time. So what is the secret of success? Stu, let's start with you.
So it's no secret. Most agents out there think that it's a secret to be successful. And we'll all admit it's not actually a secret. It's just putting in that hard work and that hard effort. And I think a lot of people get confused as to what is that hard work and what is that hard effort. And for me, whenever I look at it one word. It's building relationships. And those 2 words are hyphenated, building relationships. And that is the key to the success in real estate. If you're not able to build those relationships with both buyers, sellers, and also your sphere of influence, you're not going to get to survive in this industry. So definitely, it's relationships. Absolutely.
Jess, you've really had a fantastic year. And as you said yesterday, you got the nomination and the prize as second in South Africa in terms of production. What do you think is your secret to success? Why is it that you, as from where you came, I'm not even sure how long you've been in real estate now, but I know that it's also not like 2 decades, that sort of thing. You've had a meteoric rise. What is it that you are doing that sets you apart from, from other agents?
Well, it's like what Stuart said, we base our businesses on relationship. So one thing I'm really, really good at is networking. And I probably even lead generate or network even outside of my time blocked hours, because it's become such a habit for me. When I see something that one of my clients would be interested in, I immediately will contact them. I put people together. I put sellers and buyers together. I've kind of got my business to a point where I can sell homes without even listing them at times. And I think that comes from being so connected to your clients. And it's just, yeah, that's just, it's great when you've got time and you put that time in to build those relationships. That's what starts happening.
Fantastic. So Tessa, I know that you've also been doing this for a short while now. We've heard from Stuart and from Jess that it's all about the relationships, and Sue said the same thing. But what do these relationships lead to? What is the point? You know, where do we go with those relationships? What is it that it converts into?
I mean, for myself, by saying building relationships, when you start with Keller Williams, there's systems and models in place. And we had to start somewhere of actually building our database. And I started working in a specific farming area, and that's actually where I live, and started by calling. So by speaking to people, you know, they always have something personal to say to you, and you actually make a note of it. And when you speak to them again, when you lead in, you will go back to that. So you actually build your confidence in the people. They must know that you are interested in them. You become knowledgeable because you always share information when you do chat to them. So by being knowledgeable, you actually build their trust. And then they will actually trust you, you know, to sell their property or give them advice on their property if they want evaluation. So you have to become an expert in where you are and where you work. When you do work with people and building relationships, do eventually do get referral business from them.
I love that. I love that. Sue, do you agree? Do you think it is about the individual's or individual agent's relationship with his or her farming area, where we are going to start seeing that difference that, you know, that's obviously giving us that big divide between many agents starting out and obviously guys like you who are top performers?
Yeah, so sometimes when you actually start out, you know, to generate people you actually don't know is relatively hard. So it's obvious to start with your sphere of influence and the people who are closest to you, because they trust you already. So you don't need to build up that trust. They know your work ethic. So it's easier. So for me, when you talk about farming area, I don't look at it as a geographical thing. I farm to my sphere of influence because those are the people who know me best, trust me, and half of the battle is won because they know that you're going to do a good job, that you're going to look after them, they can trust you with that purchase of a property, which is one of the biggest assets they're going to buy in their entire lives. So I find that farming area and working with people you know first sets you with a really great foundation for your database, as Tessa mentioned. Having a solid database and having people in that database you've actually communicated with, you know, not just pulling numbers in and just having a database where it's arbitrary people. If you look at that person's name, you need to have known you've had a conversation with them, maybe face to face or at least on the telephone. I think during lockdown, we had a great session where I joined the BOLD that was being done through the States. And it was all about phoning during that time and just connecting with people and finding out, how are you doing? Nothing else, and nothing about real estate. How's your family? And people were very, very open to hearing from you, and it had nothing to do with real estate. And then when I called them a second time after we got out of lockdown, those relationships had already got a good foundation because we'd spoken about children and people's jobs and how are you feeling and are your family okay? So building those, I think building trust in the database that you have is an excellent foundation. And then the communication, keep going back to them because every day people's lives change. They might not want to sell a house today, but in 3 months' time, that may have changed.
Wonderful. I like what you said, Sue. So essentially, you saying that your farming area really is something to be equated with your sphere of influence, or the other way around. It really started with your sphere of influence, and that's how you became an expert, or somebody at least to be trusted. So it is all about that relationship.
Yeah.
Stuart, I know that you obviously, as a productivity coach before, also as a team leader, you teach people, and you've obviously dealt with this in your own business, to become a local expert. What are your thoughts about that, being a local expert, or how do you go about becoming a local expert, in your area, especially as a new agent, maybe?
So yeah, so it's a big challenge for new agents coming into the industry, is to become that local expert, especially when you've got that person who's been in that area for 20, 25 years. And everybody that you're speaking to always refers to that same individual. And for the new agents, they tend to feel that, well, I'm never going to get over that hurdle. And for me, when I actually broke into my farming area, it was only an area of 500 houses, which was very, very small. I actually worked them one by one and just try to build those relationships on an ongoing basis. And I actually found by just knocking on every door, dropping flyers, having a chat, phoning them over and over again, I actually started to wean out that agent that had been there for 20 years. And then I became, and it took me not even about 4 or 5 months, where I'd been speaking to every single month, I actually became the flavor. And something that most people look at is, let's go this shotgun approach where we're going to hit 10 different suburbs. That's going to cost you probably 3 hours to drive from point A to point B. Take the approach of that little suburb. It can be concentrated. Mine was 500, and I managed to do 22 transactions in a year just out of those 500 households. And I found that it's those relationships that gave me the referrals. Building up those relationships. And actually, when I had the conversations with most of the homeowners, they would come back to me and say, we're not going to sell in the next 10, 20 years. And I said, well, that's perfect. Do you know anybody else? Because I'm pretty sure they socialize. And I found that every week I'd be picking up at least 3 to 4 referrals of people outside of my farming area. And that's how we actually, I grew my business. From very, very small to big. And I mean, to give you an idea, it literally took me 45 minutes to walk the entire area to drop off flyers. That's how small it was.
Yeah. I would add to that, Stuart. I would say that the way that I went about it myself, but also when I teach our agents, I always say to them, you should start small or go small and master that before you can go big. Win the street before you try the neighborhood, and win the neighborhood before you win the town. You should go small and dominate there, and then this will build, your relationships will build, your familiarity will build, your local expertise will start building. So, Jess, I'm curious to hear from you. Obviously, you've gone through this now, very successful. I'm aware that you've won an award, I think, in PE as the top agent 1 year for PE, and I'm pretty sure more than 1 year. So how did you do this? What did you do to become the local expert there?
Well, like we've been discussing, I do work with a geographical farm as well. So my farming as such consists of my geographical farm and then everybody that I know, all the people that I've met. I plan to connect with each person, get to know them, build those relationships. So really, I won the Star Award at the end of 2019 out of all the agents in PE. Also was it just a commission award. And that's because I've built relationships, and those people give me referrals, just exactly how Stuart was saying. And I think another thing is that when you get those referrals and when you get those listing opportunities, to give really good service, obviously, as well. So they really, really grow to like you, to trust you, they rate you, and they refer you. And it's as simple as that. And I'm always able to go back to those clients and carry on with the relationship because the transaction goes so well. So I very, very seldom have a time where I run through the sale of a home and burn bridges or leave bad blood. And that's where the power of that good service comes in, where they will then refer their friends, family. You know, it's like you have to use this person because we had such a great experience with them. And I went small to go big. So in the beginning, I started off with just a small suburb. And it was also a case of well-known agents being in that area. And I just worked individually with each homeowner. And I'm still working on relationships in those areas and just building rapport and being of service and offering whatever services I can and just being there, letting them trust me and that type of thing. And it's relationship based. So yeah, once you get the privilege of listing a property for someone that you might have built that relationship with, then giving a great service. And
love that.
That's how it evolved.
I love that, Jess. I always say our business and our success is built one conversation at a time. And that's why it doesn't matter if there's another agent who's an incumbent in an area. There's usually enough business to start off with. But in saying that, also to start dominating that area, it just happens one conversation at a time. And as you said, if you provide that service and stay in touch with people, build those relationships. You know, it's not just do that one transaction and move on to the next one, hope for the next one. It is building your business one conversation and one transaction at a time. I love that. So Des, I'm curious to know, I remember when I started out in this game, I could do the phone calls, but for some reason, I just could not get myself so far to go and knock on a door. What do you say? Is that something that you did, knocking on doors? How did you go about it? Or did you have your own style?
I must say I'm a chatterbox. I love people. My husband hates going to the shop with me. Whenever I go, then I chat to about 1 million people before we get to the grocery store. I cycle in a P golf course, and when I go in there for an hour cycle, I'll come back 2 hours later because I've seen 5 of my clients in the golf course, you know. So I started off with lead genning in my farming area. It is something that you have to learn to enjoy, even though we love chatting to people. It's a different story of actually asking for business in a way. Although in the beginning you are trying to build relationships, but in a way you also ask for business. So that is how it started, is to feed your pipeline of making those calls daily in your lead gen time. But it changes your way of lead gen, and I think Jess also said it earlier. You are so focused on always looking out for business. When you go to the shop, you see someone, you will have a chat and they tell you something about themselves, and you pick up, you know, that they need assistance, even with building, a referral for school. So there's various ways in which you actually, when you communicate with people, that you actually provide a service and then they actually come back to you for service. I can't remember what else I wanted to say now.
That's all right. That's all right. I'll come to you. So Sue, I know that when we spoke about this before, you said that you don't really think of yourself as this major listing agent. Yet here you are, one of our top performers in the company. So how did you go about becoming that local expert initially when you started out in your career?
So I decided obviously to contact most of the people who I knew. I did want to use one of the campaigns. I'm moving on and told everybody I was going. But what actually happened was I bumped into a good friend of mine in Clicks, and I was wearing my badge, and she said, "Hey, what are you doing? What's Keller Williams?" And I said, "No, it's a real estate company. I'm now an agent." And she said, "Wow." She said, "Well, my boyfriend's just bought a flat in a little block down the road here. He's getting such a good rental return. Can you find me an apartment in that block?" So that was my first lead gen project, in that I had to phone 40 people in this block and I could say, honestly, I've got a buyer, because all agents phone people and say, I've got a buyer for your property, and they have actually nothing. All they want to do is get a foot in the door and get on the listing ladder. So I said, I've got a buyer, and I told the story. And I found her a flat. I listed it for the gentleman. She came and saw it. She ummed and ahed, but I had 3 other people come straight after her, and then she panicked. So full ask offer at 7.5%. So that was my first deal with Keller Williams. But the next 6 properties that I sold were all through people in my sphere of influence. I sold 2 properties for a couple in my church. I sold my brother-in-law's flat. I sold my friend a flat. Yeah, so it really gets you going. And the thing is as well, like when you're working with people who you know, if you don't know something, it's a lot easier to say, I don't know this, but I can find out the answer to that question for you and get back to you. So it was a good way to sort of break myself in, where I felt in the comfort zone with my clients, as in the sellers. And then obviously I got to meet buyers through those listings that I had. And by the time I got into number 7, then you start getting referred, and the ball just keeps rolling. So I think I like working off referrals. And I make sure when I close a deal, that's the last thing I say to my clients. They say, oh, thank you so much for your service. What can I do for you? And I say to them, please, whatever you do, if nothing else, please, if you hear of somebody wanting to buy or sell, please put them in contact with me. That will be the best gift you could give me. And it does start to happen quite soon after that, especially like Jess has said, when you give a good experience and you give a good service, why would they not want to work with you or refer you to somebody? So yeah, for me, sphere of influence, I'm not a door knocker. I have to tell you, I did that once with a mentee, not my thing at all. I couldn't get out of that street fast enough.
You and I both, Sue, you and I both. But I like what you're saying. So essentially what I'm hearing, guys, is that we all started in a sense, just getting into those conversations for some of us. And it was the same with me. I also simply started out making calls to people that I know, because obviously in this game, you cannot be a secret agent. People have to know that you're in this game now, and that's what you are doing. The nice thing about that is obviously as an OP, I've not been active in the market that much in the last few years. But even still now, I would sometimes get a call. So the other day, for example, I got a call from a lady that I sold a property to, I think about 11 years ago. And it's now when she got to the point where she had to sell again and obviously buy again. And she was quite insistent because I wanted to refer her to one of our agents. And she wanted to talk to me. She wanted to do business with me. So I'll take the compliment. But the point is, that's what you want to create. You want to create that sort of raving fan that comes back to you and trust you alone. So Stuart, I know that you're a numbers guy, or at least the training that I've seen in the times that we've spoken, you really go into understanding the numbers that are applicable to your business. So with bearing in mind being the local expert, what sort of numbers do you look at? How do you go about, for example, just understanding your area or the numbers that apply to your area? I heard you say things like, for example, I'm looking at the total number of doors in my area. So what sort of other things are you looking at in your, to be that local expert? Also for that sort of thing, the more technical stuff in your area, what is it that you are doing?
So yeah, I'm sure most of us are aware of the DISC profile. Well, mine was just a C. It just was off the charts. I'm very much an analytical, and numbers are a big thing for me. So when I started to look at the actual numbers in the area, where they came from, typically I start with Lightstone. I find it's probably the best analytical program to give you all the data in a nice, colorful fashion. But when I look at those suburbs, the first thing that I'm looking at when I'm looking at a suburb is how many properties have actually sold. And I put that down to a bit of a percentage. So when I looked at my suburb and I saw, well, it's a suburb of about 500 odd properties, and I was looking at the numbers of how many properties actually sold over the last say 12 months on that suburb. And I actually got to find that we were selling probably around about 15 to 16 properties a year we're selling in that suburb. Now, that's a low percentage. For anybody that looks in a suburb, it's a very, very low percentage, especially when you're sharing with a number of agents. If I had to say to any of the agents out there, if you want to start looking at numbers, You pick your suburb, you see how many properties are listed, and this is a great report that comes through on Lightstone, and you look at the last 12 months. Take that number and divide it into the number of properties in the area, and that's going to give you a percentage. You're going to find, on average, your area is going to range at about that 5% mark. In other words, 5% of the properties in that area will sell, and that'll be over the last 12 months. If you find that you're hitting down to that 3% area, it's going to be an area that you're going to find is going to become a challenge unless you really have dominance in that area. If you've got that 40-50% market share, then 100%, because you're going to hold the majority share on. But anything above that 5%, it's like hitting a jackpot. You literally have these golden nuggets lying in the streets, and that's why I used to walk the street. When I started to look at neighboring suburbs, they were sitting at like 8% was selling. And for me, that meant I'm going to go door knocking, because guaranteed I'm going to be picking up listings left, right, and center. Because I know that's out of every almost 10 houses, there's going to be one for sale nearly. So it's a good percentage that I'd work on, to work in areas that give me the kind of results that I need to get listings, because that's really where it's going to start from. So yeah, that's like the first number that I would say if any agent's going to start is you've got to know those numbers. How many properties are in the area and how many sell over the last 12 months?
Nice. So what that will then give you, Stuart, also if you obviously work out those numbers over a period of time, it's going to start giving you trends. And you know, the value really then lies in following that trend and understanding whether it's going up or down or sideways, so that you can start gleaning information from your market, you know, based on that number that you are tracking.
Correct. You know, I've done it for the last 3 years, and I've seen how you can see more or less properties. Now I do this for 14 different suburbs now as a team leader. So I can actually monitor what suburbs are going up and what suburbs are going down.
Jess, that's quite interesting. You know, I don't think you're exactly the same. You don't have the same style necessarily as Stuart. You know, admitting that he's a high C, but are you obviously just the size of your business at this stage already? Are you a numbers agent? What is it that you are looking at in terms of, you know, tracking numbers or understanding what's happening in your local area? What sort of insights are you gleaning from, you know, just working in that local area of yours?
Yeah, I am a numbers agent. I'm highly analytical. So I definitely I pull suburb reports annually on all the suburbs I farm in from a geographical basis. I study the stats on how many transfers have taken place in the last 12 months and in the last 3 months. And I base my goals, or not really my goals, but I do use that information to share with potential clients. And it's just good to know. Like Stuart, obviously, I think when it comes to basing my business on numbers, I would say that would come more into my my lead generation and my communication with my Mets. So the statistics that we draw from converting 12 Mets that you are successfully and in regular contact with, based on that 33 touch campaign, converting that to 2 sales, for example, that would be the farming that I really focus on when it comes to numbers. Geographical farming is just to give me an idea of what is the scope, what's happening in my area, what are my competition doing, how many of the sales that took place were mine, have I lost market share, have I gained market share, is my farming successful? But the 33 touch, I feel I could really improve on, because my database has really grown, and the number of Mets that I've got on my database has really, really grown. But I've realized that to really, really capitalize, and we've got a proven model that we should have a closed transaction and a referral transaction of every 12 people that we communicate with. So from that point of view, when I look at my numbers, I'm not doing something right. But yet, along the way to achieving that goal, I'm accomplishing smaller goals, if you want to call it that. So that's how I use numbers in my business.
It's always interesting to me when I talk to, top agents like you, and obviously that's, I've also operated at a high level, and I understand, as you said, Jess, I think every one of us to a certain extent then is a numbers agent, because we have to understand, the things that are important in our areas. Obviously, as Stuart said, the number of properties available, the number of properties for sale, just the stats and understanding the trends that are applicable to your specific area. I want to move this in a different direction now. Obviously, we're all top agents here, but there's all of us started out as newbies. We started out at some stage as a newbie and we didn't understand anything. And I saw one of the questions here is one of our viewers said he's intimidated by the big names in his area. He's intimidated by the incumbent agent, the strong person there, the other one. What advice would you give to that newbie starting out in an area to then become an agent like you became?
Are you asking me or Tess, yeah?
Tessa.
Okay. I think it's important that you do have to believe in our business model, because it is there, and your team leader will tell exactly what you actually should be doing. And don't worry about what the other companies are doing, because they do not have a business model like ours. So you just be teachable, and you will be able to also become successful. But it starts with the little things like the 10 forms. Do you still write that your personal note and send it to people that you've made contact with for the day? I mean, those are basic things. And I think you should be doing those basic things, and you will see the results at the end of the day. So do your lead gen. It's very important. Daily. Put those people onto your database that you've actually made contact with. It could even be from phone calls of your of listings that you have got, or somebody that you've met at the school, some referral. But your lead gen, you need to put those names on your database because you're starting off. And then personal notes, that to me has helped me a lot. I've actually had cards printed where I then write a personal note after I chatted to that person of what we discussed. And remembering that I got 4 listings of about 250 cards I posted. So I think that definitely counts for something.
Excellent. That's excellent. Sue, what is your advice to our newbie being intimidated by the top agent in his area?
So maybe that person's the top person in the area because that area has no other choice. Go and be the second choice. There's a lot of people. I've got a friend who lives in Camps Bay, and Camps Bay is a very old staid area where, there's a lot of communities there where there's some agents there who are pretty old. They've been in the business for like 40, 50 years, and everybody knows them, and people stick with them. And I had a conversation with a lady who I got a listing for a 38 million rand property a while back. And, I said to her, there's the likes of the Dogans and the Pam Goldings in this area. Why do people, can you tell me what have they got that other agents haven't got? And she said, absolutely nothing. They're the only ones who are working the area. If some new fresh blood came in here, we'd be open to it. And there was always 1 or 2 bad stories. Jess has said, don't ever leave anybody with a bad story, because those are the ones that people remember. A lot of the time, they don't remember all the good you did, but if you did something terrible, that'll be broadcast everywhere. So that people don't be intimidated. You can be just as good, and if not better, than that agent. All you've got to do is provide a service and communicate with them, and you'll get the job done. And get your foot in the door. And once you start the process, that client will see how awesome you are, what a fantastic company you work for, and take it from there. So yeah, don't think because somebody's been around for a long time, it makes them good. It doesn't. It just means they've been around a long time.
I love that. As I said, every business is built one conversation at a time, especially ours. And that top agent also started out as a rookie sometime back, many moons back maybe. But yeah, every single agent started out somewhere. So one of the other questions was, I don't have a sphere of influence. We all said that that was easier. You know, you don't start with a cold call. You start with the warm call to your sphere of influence. What advice would we be giving to the agent who says that I'm, let's say, new to an area? I just moved here from another town and I have to start afresh. I do not know somebody in this area. Stuart, what would you say to our agent?
I've had this question come to me many times in coaching sessions. We have team leaders that bring on people that have relocated, and they sit in front of me and they go, Stuart, my sphere of influence is from Cape Town and I'm sitting in Joburg. The only person I know is literally the people in the office. And I say, well, you know, sometimes it just starts by working with the people in the office if you're brand new, just to slowly start building up that little community. But what you're going to find is just in life, we are humans, and it's natural for a human to be social. We are sociable animals. And you'll go through to a shopping center and you'll talk to somebody, you'll become familiar with somebody. Maybe it's a school that your kids have moved through to. Maybe your wife has suddenly got a job and she's speaking to people. You'll find in the beginning your sphere of influence might start out with one person. But I can tell you now, by the end of that week, your human nature will get you to speak to other people. And I find one of the greatest sphere of influences for me, when it's, because I'm actually a Durban boy, coming up here, sphere of influence, start with the petrol attendant, that one that's got the supervisor written across the top of his label. You make friends with him, because trust me, he'll always come up to you, and then you start talking to him about people that are coming through. And you're going to find that he's going to say, oh, I see this particular person, because they have that interaction. And you're going to find your sphere of influence will grow naturally. We're not geared to live in a cave, lock the door, throw away the key. COVID tried to do that to us, and here we sit on Zoom calls, and we're actually talking to people that, of everybody on the call, I've actually met 3 of you, and 1 of you is a secret. So it's not that you haven't met somebody face to face, just be sociable. You're going to find it's going to grow. Hi, I'm Stuart, I'm from Keller Williams, I sell real estate. What do you do? And the conversation will go from there.
And if you can do it as a high C, Stuart, anybody can do it.
Yeah, and a high C that is extremely introverted.
Absolutely.
So,
it's also one of those things, and I don't want to get us derailed now. We have to start giving our final thoughts. But it's one of the misconceptions is that you have to be sort of out there, or you have to be a big mouth to be successful or to be able to relate to people, which is simply not true. So we've got a few minutes left. Let's end this off. I'd like to hear your final thoughts, and maybe in your final thoughts, if you can just share with the audience your view on things like sole mandates versus, or just the number of listings that you've got, or any other final thoughts that you've got. Obviously, you know, we said now there is no secret. The secret is in that relationship, and that will lead to you becoming a local expert and then getting the sellable listings out of that. What final thoughts do you have, Jess, you know, just considering everything we've discussed now?
Dion, I would say my final thoughts would just be that relationship takes work. Relationships don't, you know, they are natural, but they take a bit of effort and they take work. And it's just like any personal relationship you have, that's what you're doing in your business. So don't neglect the small things. Don't neglect the personal things like the phone calls. Don't fear getting up close and personal with clients. That's been the biggest breakthrough for me, is that I'm also quite introverted. And so I'm very comfortable with postal drops or marketing, but the actual connection and the talking on the phone and the personal interaction, that's where you really make leaps and bounds in a relationship with someone. And it does take a little bit of getting out of a comfort zone, but it's so worth it. And the limiting beliefs that people don't want to hear from you, don't believe those. People they want to speak to you. They want to just hear your voice, and they want to give you referrals. So that's just Love it.
Tessa, what are your final thoughts, considering, you know, the fact that you are such a local expert already? And again, also, if you have any thoughts about your, you know, just the number of listings that you have, what would you leave us with?
I mean, I built my business also on building relationships. So looking at my numbers, about 36% of in my farming area was, I've got a market share of about 36% in my farming area. And that was built on actually relationships. But I think the main thing that when we do these personal calls, because we have to do them, we must remember we come with contribution. Either if it's a phone call that we are caring for someone during COVID, or offering a valuation, we must remember we are offering a service, and we must be grateful for that we're actually offering them, but likewise, we are offering them something, a service that another agent might not, in the way that we communicate, and that is very important. I hope that answers what you're asking me.
No, it does. It does. Sue, what are you going to leave us with? Just considering everything we've discussed now.
Just you know, if you manage to get a sole mandate, I always use the you know, with the analogy when people say to me, what's the difference between a sole mandate and an open mandate? I'm like, do you want to employ me full time, or do you want to employ me part time? And if you do have to get involved with an open mandate, sometimes it's not possible for you to get a sole mandate. Treat every mandate like a sole mandate, and you'll be the agent who sells it.
Love that. Guys, this was a lot of fun spending this time with you. I think one of the things that I can say, our market center is one of the top, we won the prize, very happy and very proud of it. We won the prize for the top listing market center. And I'll leave you with this. Listings, like relationship building, is a mindset. Listings is something that you have to do. In our business as an estate agent, there simply is no room to say that I cannot get listings. That is not the way that this business works. But it doesn't have to be that hard. It doesn't have to be so difficult. In fact, the longer you do it, surprisingly, the easier it becomes. And it's based exactly on what our panel told us now. They built it one relationship at a time, one conversation at a time, and that then led to the referrals and the repeats. And that's exactly how you can go about, just by providing that link. Remember, we are that link between the client, the information they seek, and obviously the service they require from you. They need you. The tech wants to replace you by removing that human connection, but we are that human connection. And that is why I strongly believe that we cannot be replaced by tech that, you know, just sort of disintermediates that human connection that we have and we will always have with our client. So that's the thoughts. I hope that answers many of your questions. And if there are any more, you can obviously put those on the platform and we will get back to you. Otherwise, enjoy Family Reunion. It was fun spending time with you today. Thank you, panel. Thank you, Stuart. Thank you, Jess.